One of the things that I always am talking about in these videos, if you've been following or listening to some of them, is how skill is like top priority, and I still feel like that. I still think skill should be the number one thing that you care about, or the thing that, just in my opinion, this is all, you can disregard everything I say. This is just a stupid YouTube video, but it's just my opinion. But one of the things that might be kind of holding people back with their art, I think, is if they care enough or not. And I think it literally can just boil down to that. Like in one of my videos, I was talking about how it helps to be delusional. It helps to look at who you think is best and believe that you're capable of one day being that good, or just using their work as inspiration to improve. Well, I think it also really matters if you just care enough. Obviously there are other factors that matter. There are other things that will, be required of you to get better. And when you think about it, what is caring? And I think it can take two main forms. And these are, again, two kind of intangible things, but they are real. And that is either passion or obsession. And I think you need one or the other, or both, to really go far. So again, I think caring about your art and caring about improving is it's one or the other, or both, or like a mix. So like, I was kind of thinking about this, and I think when it comes to, let's just stick to drawing, because I'm mainly talking about that, but this can be applied to other creative things too. But so passion, I think, is basically feelings, and then obsession is thoughts. And part of what led me to this was, I talked about this in another video too, how I don't know what it is, but I cannot help myself from pulling back quality-wise. And by that I mean being unable to pull back from going 100% quality, doing my absolute best at all times. And I've thought about this for a long time. What is it that, I cannot stop myself, even if I'll logically try to go, it doesn't make sense to be doing this all the time, especially in comic books. With comic books, it's largely about speed. Quality does matter, but especially with sequentials, it's better to, work in a way that is more efficient. It's covers are more about quality, or covers are more about, you can spend more time on that. But with sequential pages, you need to be quicker. It's just better in general. And I've gone into detail about that, but anyway, I'm more so talking about, why can I not stop going to 100% quality-wise? Like I keep drifting back, not even drifting. I'm constantly naturally pulled to do my best. And what is that? And the only explanation I can think of is obsession. For me, it's obsession. Like I cannot stop trying to, and it's not even a trying to, it's a compelled to. I'm pulled to do it. I'm almost like forced by something within me to be this way, or to work this way. And basically make everything as good as I can and I'm sure it's not just that, but that seems like what a lot of it is. It's pure obsession. I cannot stop. It just defies all logical thinking. It's the other cool thing too about what I like in other art, like, you know, outside of my own stuff. What I'm always drawn to, or at least, you know, I think most people are, whether they realize it or not, is either passion or obsession, because it's this almost undefinable thing that resonates. It's a thing that really can't be taught, but as humans, we have a radar for that. We can, and it goes back to the first thing I was talking about with skill. Skill matters a lot, but if it's just this cold, dead drawing that, you know, again, it's hard to really point out, or it's not something you can necessarily measure or point to or whatever, but you can feel passion. And then you can kind of detect obsession with thinking, I guess. Especially like in music. It's just, you know, skill matters a lot, but passion can go a long way, and it resonates. It can be felt, and that matters a lot. Another thing, like I was talking in my last video about how promotion, you know, I'm not gonna go over that again completely, but part of what bothers me about promotion, it's obviously required. You do need to promote your work. If you want to make a living at it or make money with it, or it's a goal of yours to make a career out of it or whatever, even the biggest artists are promoting their stuff. It's, you know, but one of my big problems with it, or what can annoy me about it, is that people can make up for lack of skill with promotion. So like one artist can be not that good, you know, whatever. Maybe they're, I don't know, 40% skilled, but then they flood the market with promotion. They flood, you know, whatever. They're 60% promotion. Basically, no matter how average or mediocre they might be, just by being more visible, they are much more likely to be successful. Whereas an artist that's very skilled, if you're not seeing them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good you are. If no one knows you're even there, it doesn't matter. You know, essentially what I'm saying is they can make up for being not that good with promotion. And if you're anything like me, that just bothers me. That, not in the sense that I'm jealous or they're doing something wrong. It's just, in my mind, skill should be the thing that always wins. That should be the thing that always... But what I'm getting to is, I think passion or obsession is one of the few things that can replace skill or make up for skill, and it's still okay. And this is just my opinion. Like, who cares what I think? I'm just saying, even if you are especially newer or not that skilled or whatever, passion and obsession can make up for that in a way that it can be seen, it can be felt, skill is not everything. With your creations is what I'm saying, with your drawings or your comics or your whatever. You know, you can make up for that, and I think that's okay. And not only that, caring a lot or being passionate or being obsessed will fuel you to become more skilled. So that's the other cool thing about it. I think in the meantime, it can, you might not be the most skilled artist, which is never a crime. It's never like the worst thing in the world. I'm just saying you can take both of those ingredients and make something really, really cool, really, really good. And then over time, that passion and that obsession, whether it's a mix of the two or whatever, that will fuel you to improve for, many different reasons. You'll be spending more time trying to improve. You'll be spending more time making whatever it is you make, and through that you'll get better. And again, it's basically caring. You care enough to improve, make better stuff. So maybe it sounds obvious, but I just feel like those two things are what can be almost like the missing ingredients to getting better. It's not everything, but it can make a huge difference. So passion is basically another word for caring, pretty much. You feel so strongly about, let's say, this project you're working on, and it will carry you in a way that skill can't. It can take you further than anything else, essentially just because you feel so strongly about it. It can also be in your actual work itself and almost like fused together with what it is you're doing. Like I said, whatever skill level you're at, if you're passionate about what you're doing, that almost matters. I'm not going to say more than skill, but like I was saying before, let's say you're doing everything, quote unquote, correctly, but there's no passion there. You don't really care. You don't really feel strongly about what it is you're doing. Well, one can make the argument that is going to suck. That it's not going to be very good and people can pick up on that. They can tell that this is kind of dull or stale. Even if it's correct or skilled, if you're not passionate about it, it doesn't matter. You don't care about it. So yeah, I think passion or obsession. Obsession was more so what I was talking about before, but passion, really, you need both to some extent, I think. But passion can really be that missing ingredient that, as I was saying before, it's not something that can be taught. And that goes to a little mini side topic, which is you can learn all day. You can watch tutorials on YouTube and go to art classes or even go to art school. And, passion, I mean, who knows? Maybe they have a passion class. I don't really know. But when I'm talking about, just learning to paint, learning to draw, the actual skill of it, they typically don't teach you, from what I understand, passion. And I don't know if that can even be taught, period. I really don't. That's kind of the one part of this video or this topic that I don't really know what to tell you, because if you're not passionate, I don't know how you get passionate. I think it just comes down to you have to be doing stuff that you care about, or try to get interested in, but then again, how do you really do that? I don't know. Because I think so much of this is just what you're naturally drawn to. Maybe you just have to keep looking, whatever field you're kind of in. Like if you're in comic books, maybe the mainstream superhero stuff doesn't really do anything for you. It doesn't inspire you. But you discover some indie little corner pocket of the comic book world, and then all of a sudden you're passionate about that. Oh wow, I want to make stuff kind of like that. And that will, ignite you in a way that nothing else has. Like, you'll just get this spark. And like I said, the only other thing about passion is that it can run out. So it's not necessarily something you can rely on. That's another reason why I think skill, it doesn't run out. I mean, sure, you have to keep it sharp, but it's almost like it's kind of like riding a bike in a way. Like, especially if you've been doing this stuff for years, yes, you do have to stay on top of it. You do have to keep practicing, or you do have to keep basically using the skill, or else you'll lose that too. But passion it's not necessarily something you can rely on to always just be in a jar somewhere and you can just drink some passion and now, all right, now I'm passionate about what I'm doing. Part of it is there is something to it. You do have to stay, if you think about it, you do have to stay into what you're doing. As far as, let's say it's comic books, for example. If you lose all level of caring about it, that's not good. Then again, you're going to be, you need to get inspired. And again, it's not really, it might sound corny, but it's almost like a fire. You do have to keep that fire going to some extent. Even if it's down to like a candle, you need a little bit of a flame there. Otherwise, it's all dead. It's completely dead. There's no, you're just making these cold, dead drawings or whatever it is. And if you don't really care, I don't know. I mean, sure, it might be correct. It might be, it can be there. It exists. It's art. We're looking at it, but that can be a thing like I was talking about. When you look at certain art, it can be like this missing ingredient. Like, everything is right here, but what is missing? Something's going on here. There's a problem. But even people who are not into art, they can tell. Maybe they can't point out that that's what's going on, but they can tell something's wrong or something's right. So like, if something is pretty skilled technically or whatever, but they're seriously passionate about it, people can feel that. They can tell, and that does go a long way. So maybe this sounds kind of obvious, but one of the other things I was thinking about before I actually went to make this video was how often I've heard other artists just little passing remarks over the years say things like, who cares about that, or I'm not going to do that, or in regards to their actual work, where basically what they're referring to is, like, they don't want to go that extra mile, or they don't want to. So often there are these little instances where, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just something that I've noticed, that there are plenty of artists out there that they do not care that much. They care, but only to a certain level. In the same way that your skill level can be whatever, only so high, your care level can be only so high. And while on one hand, I don't know if it's really something you can teach or learn, or how you even pick up on that, but maybe you can kind of manually, it can be through effort. It can be, just purely through like the amount of work you put into something. And by that, I don't mean just, more lines is better, or more in general is better. I just mean, that can be implemented in different ways. Meaning you care about what it is you're doing. You're going to a certain level that the next person might never think to go that far because they just don't care that much. And by that I don't mean like a competition thing. It's not about like you can do any of this however you want. I'm just saying it's something that I've noticed, that there are a lot of artists that do not really care that much. And I guess that's a different type of caring, but at least with that, that's something you can kind of control. And I think that is tied to passion. Like if you were making a comic book, or you're making an album, or you're making, I don't know, maybe you're like a chef and you're making this big feast. If you are passionate about it and you have this specific vision, you know exactly what you want to make. It's got to be this certain way. The next person, if you just offload that to somebody else, they're not going to care. They're not going to, but you are so passionate about it that you're going to bring it to a different level. Not even just for the sake of doing it. Like that extra work is not going to be necessarily all that taxing, because what matters more to you is the overall project or the overall thing you're trying to make. You're so passionate about it and you care that much that it just makes a difference. So passion is something that is usually palpable. People can look at what you did and go, oh wow, like they really cared about this. And a lot of the times that makes a massive difference, in my opinion. So I don't know, I guess try to care more. I don't really know how that works, but maybe if you can, those little moments where you go, who cares, or maybe second guess that. I think it does matter overall, even if it doesn't even necessarily have to do with is everyone noticing every little thing I'm doing? Well, they're probably not, but still it might make a difference overall. So that's pretty much going to be it. Feel free to leave a comment. Hope you enjoyed it, and I guess that's it.